where millions of people, those who sleep with a hungry stomach. Poverty is a major reason for hunger, as the people living in poverty cannot afford to buy food. As there is food deficiency, it affects the children more because they are still growing and developing. We need to reduce the rate of global hunger and it is a time to bring solution to this severe problem. Thank you. Delegates, is there any point of information? Saying none, delegate of Switzerland, you may now approach the floor for a duration of 1 minute.
Good afternoon to the respected lecturers and delegates. Hunger levels are rising around the world. As many as 328 million people go to bed hungry each night. Of those affected by hunger, 2/3 are women and children. Poverty is the greatest cause of hunger around the world in both higher wealth and low to middle income countries. Most people not hungry live in extreme poverty. Climate change is another factor of hunger. Conflict is also driver of hunger in the world. It affects families, destroys economies, weaks infrastructure, and halts agricultural production. Prolonged period of hunger can lead to health problems and can cause damage to child's development physically, cognitively, and emotionally. Projections for future outlook of global hunger suggest that hunger will persist with more devastating effects. Thank you.
Delegates, is there any point of information? Seeing none, we will now be moving to the next question. Delegates, is there any motion on the floor? Delegate of UK, you are recognized. What point you write?
Motion to introduce the draft resolution. Russia should assure safe export of grains from Ukrainian goods and unused foodstuffs should be sold to the government for distribution.
Are there any seconds to this motion? Are there any objection? Seeing none, the motion is now in order. Delegate of UK, please let me read if you have enough sponsors and signatories. Delegate of UK is requested to read his resolution aloud to the panel.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair, fellow delegates and most esteemed guests. There are over 900 million people who actually have no idea from where their next meal is coming from. High rates of hunger have devastating impacts on individuals and families. Children may suffer lifetime effects of retardation in their mental and physical growth. Millions of women and children will become foodless and undernourished. And unfortunately, if they don't have any source of income, girls will be pulled back from schools and will be forced to either work or get married. And families left with no other option will go on dangerous journeys across the continents just to survive. The economic shock caused by COVID-19 has worsened food insecurity, reducing incomes and disrupting supply chains. And now, the Russian invasion in Ukraine is accelerating all these factors. It threatens to put tens of millions of people into the risk of food insecurity, followed by mass hunger and poverty in a crisis that could last for years. Excellencies, between them, Ukraine and Russia produce almost a third of world's barley and half of its sunflower oil. Russia is the #2 producer of potash, that is the key ingredient of fertilizer, which is actually used in cultivation of crops. In the recent years, global food prices have risen by nearly 1/3, fertilizer by more than half, and oil prices by almost 2/3. Many countries could not borrow because the markets are closed for them, and those who are able to borrow are charged with high interest rates. If high fertilizer prices continues to waste crisis in grain and cooking oil will affect many other food, including rice, that will affect billions of people. Excellencies, ending hunger is within our reach. And there is enough food in our world to feed everyone if and only if we act together. Our country, United Kingdom, sees few urgent and effective steps to solve this disaster of world hunger. UNICEF should urgently increase the supply of food and fertilizer. Russia must assure safe and secure export of grains stored in Ukrainian ports despite the war. Diverting it to other priorities is not an option, while the world is on the risk of mass hunger. Excellencies, we don't need more. We just need to use what we already have more wisely. According to the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, the amount of food wasted worldwide is more than enough to feed 2 billion people. Just imagine how big this number is. That is actually twice the population of the people actually suffering with the hunger. But unfortunately, the majority of food waste worldwide occurs in restaurants and households itself. But luckily, this kind of food waste is prevented. Excellencies, United Kingdom government has decided to collect the unused food from every restaurant, hotels, and households at lower prices and to distribute it to the people most in need on a regular basis. And for your kind information, as a result, last year, UK government was successful in saving 10 tons of food waste, or else that food would have been simply wasted. United Kingdom is closely monitoring global food security outlook and using all possible power to contribute in ending this disaster of global hunger. And once again, let's make it very clear that food crisis has no respect for borders and no country can overcome it alone. Our only chance of lifting millions of people out of the disaster of global hunger is to act together with unity. Thank you.
तरीके अभी वैसे